Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Barbara Beauregard, genealogist, educator, author, and creator of the Time Capsule Method. Today, we're going to talk about something that almost every family historian encounters at some point: unidentified family photographs. But this presentation is really about much more than photographs. It's about preserving the stories, identities, and memories connected to those images before they are lost. Family photographs are powerful. They connect us to people we may never have met. They help us see faces, places, homes, weddings, celebrations, and moments that are frozen in time. But photographs are only part of the story because without names, dates, relationships, and memories attached to them, those images can eventually lose their meaning. That is why today we're going to talk about how to prevent that from happening. Many people inherit boxes of photographs after parents or grandparents pass away, and often they discover there is little or no information attached: no names, no dates, no explanation of who the people are. This is an incredibly common experience, and once the family memory keepers are gone, identifying those photographs becomes much more difficult. Recently, my husband and I were antiquing, and as always, I was drawn to the old family photographs. I found myself standing there, looking through boxes of wedding portraits, baby pictures, family gatherings, and military images. And what struck me most was that most of them had no names, just anonymous faces. At one time, every one of those photographs mattered deeply to someone, but now they had become disconnected from the families who once treasured them. Every photograph mattered to someone. It's important to remember that these photographs were once carefully saved. Someone placed them in albums, someone carried them through moves, and someone considered them precious. Yet, over time, the stories connected to them have disappeared. That can happen very quietly across generations. Why does context matter? A photograph without context eventually becomes simply unknown people, and that's really the tragedy. The image may physically survive, but the identity, relationships, and stories behind it may disappear. That is why preservation must include both the photograph and the story connected to it. Think about all the different kinds of photographs families preserve: wedding portraits, baby pictures, military service photos, holiday gatherings, graduations, and anniversaries. Without identification, future generations may never know who these people were. Several years ago, I received an email from a gentleman from New York. He had been antiquing in Maine and discovered photographs with my husband's grandfather's name written on the back. He contacted me and asked if I was related to this person and if I would like them. Of course, I was thrilled. Those photographs could easily have been lost forever. The reason those photographs found their way home is because someone had taken the time to label them. That simple act preserved enough information for a stranger to reconnect them with family. That is incredibly powerful. One handwritten name can preserve an entire connection to a person's family history. That experience reinforced something very important for me. Family memories do not usually disappear all at once. Instead, they fade slowly, and unless someone intentionally preserves the stories connected to photographs, those memories may eventually disappear completely. Memories can fade across generations. One generation may know everyone in the photograph. The next generation may recognize only a few people, and eventually, no one knows who anyone is. This happens far more often than most families realize. Family memory is fragile, and each generation often assumes someone else knows the stories. But when older relatives pass away, a tremendous amount of knowledge can disappear with them. That is why preserving stories now is so important. Many families unintentionally delay preserving information because they assume another relative has already documented it. But unfortunately, that assumption can lead to permanent loss. The safest approach is to preserve information while it is still available. Many people tell me, I wish I had asked more questions while my grandparents were alive. That's a very common feeling, but even now, there are still ways to preserve remaining knowledge before more information disappears. So, how do photos become separated from families? Some of the most common are estate cleanouts, which usually happen quickly. Albums may be separated, boxes may be sold at these sales, photographs may get discarded, and when items enter estate sales or antique shops without labels, the family connection is often lost forever. Today, we face a modern version of the same issue. Many people now have thousands of digital images stored on phones and computers with no organization or descriptions. Future generations may inherit these files, but they may not know or understand the people or stories connected to them. So, think about all those digital photos that you have. Are they labeled and organized? This is why preservation matters. We are not simply preserving paper or digital files. We are preserving identity, relationships, family connections, and stories. So, do not wait. One of the most important things I encourage people to do is simply begin. You do not need a perfect archival system. You do not need unlimited time. Even small efforts can preserve meaningful information for future generations. Take the opportunity now. Bring photographs to family gatherings. Ask relatives during visits or phone calls. Even short conversations can uncover valuable information, and often those conversations trigger additional memories and stories. Simple questions can make a tremendous difference. Questions like, who is this? Where was this taken? About what year? What event was this? Or how are these people related? Even partial information may become important later. The conversations you have around old photographs are often just as valuable as the photographs themselves. A single image may unlock stories about immigration, military service, homes, traditions, or difficult periods in family history. Record those stories whenever possible. Use your photographs as conversation starters. Photographs are powerful for triggering memories. They often help relatives remember details they may not think about otherwise. That's why old photographs can be wonderful tools for helping preserve oral history. Unlabeled photographs often become unidentified photographs. Labeling is one of the simplest and most effective preservation steps that you can take. Future generations cannot preserve what they cannot identify. This is why labeling photographs matters. The most helpful details to preserve whenever possible include full names, maiden names, dates, locations, event descriptions, relationships. These details help to preserve context and meaning. Even one sentence can preserve an enormous amount of information. A simple example could be John and Mary Beauregard Smith at their wedding, Burlington, Vermont, approximately 1948. That single note may someday become invaluable. Safe labeling practices include using archival safe pens or soft archival pencils. Write gently near the back edges whenever possible. The goal is to preserve information while protecting the photograph itself. Do not forget to also label the albums, archival boxes, sleeves, and envelopes. Being organized helps preserve family context over time. Sometimes we assume everyone knows who certain people are, but future generations may not know. So, what feels obvious today may become unclear later. That's why documentation matters. Digital images require preservation too. Thousands of unidentified files can quickly become overwhelming. Simple organization habits can make an enormous difference. Meaningful file names help preserve context. Instead of using img underscore 4827.jpg, use grandma underscore rose underscore burlington underscore 1955.jpg. That single change preserves far more information and helps to know what the image is without having to open it up to look at it. When creating folders and structure, organize by the family line, the year, the event, or by the location. The goal is to be consistent, not perfect. Digital captions, metadata, and tags can preserve valuable information. Many platforms allow you to add descriptions directly to images. Take advantage of those tools. Remember that you also need to protect your collection. If your photographs exist in only one place, they are at risk. Hard drives fail, phones get lost, and accounts can disappear. Always maintain multiple backups whenever possible. Scanning older photographs helps preserve them and makes sharing easier. Digital copies can also help protect against physical loss or damage. One of the best preservation strategies is sharing. The more family members who have identified copies, the greater the chance the information survives. Let's talk about one modern tool that can help with preservation. Artificial intelligence is becoming an increasingly useful tool in genealogy. When used thoughtfully, AI can help support preservation and analysis. Some AI assistance examples where AI tools may be helpful are when you need to enhance faded images, when you need to sharpen blurry photos. AI can help identify objects or clothing styles, and AI can assist in analyzing your photographs for visual clues. These tools can provide you with helpful research support. AI may also assist with transcribing handwritten notes or faded handwriting on the backs of old photographs. That can be extremely useful when labels are difficult to read. AI tools may help organize large digital collections through facial grouping, keyword suggestions, and automatic tagging. Again, these tools should assist researchers, not replace human judgment. Verification still matters. AI is not foolproof. Historical records, family knowledge, and careful verification remain essential. So use AI thoughtfully and ethically as part of your research process. Stories still come from people. Technology is helpful, but family stories ultimately come from human connections. The memories, relationships, and emotions connected to photographs still depend on people sharing their stories. Preservation does not require perfection. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they need a perfect archival system before they begin. You do not. Simple systems work. Being consistent matters more than perfection. A simple basic workflow may include gathering, scanning, labeling, organizing, backing up, and sharing. Simple repeated actions can preserve tremendous amounts of family history. Even identifying one photograph today can preserve a connection for future generations. Making small efforts consistently can accumulate over time and make a huge difference in preserving your family's photographs. The time capsule method is about more than just storing files. It focuses on preserving meaning, context, identity, and stories. That philosophy connects deeply to family photographs. Images alone are not enough. A photograph without context may survive physically, but still lose its true value. Future generations need to know the names, relationships, and stories connected to the image. Our goal is not simply to save photographs. Our goal is to help future generations get to know and understand the people and stories behind those images. When building a lasting family legacy, every labeled photograph becomes a part of the larger family history. Think of preservation as an act of stewardship. I often think back to those boxes of unidentified photographs in antique shops, and I think about how easily that can happen to any family collection. A single handwritten name may someday reconnect a family to its history. Never underestimate the value of even small pieces of preserved information. One brief note can change everything. The work we do today matters. The actions you take today may become priceless to future generations. One labeled photograph may someday answer questions no one else can. I created a free photo identification checklist to help you begin organizing and preserving your own family photographs. It includes practical steps for identifying photographs, organizing digital images, preserving stories, and protecting family memories. Preserve the stories along with the photos. Family photographs are more than just images, they are connections. They are reminders of lives lived and relationships shared. So, preserve the stories along with the photographs before it's too late. I would like to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this presentation encourages you to begin preserving the names, stories, and memories connected to your family photographs. And if you enjoyed this presentation, I invite you to explore more genealogy preservation resources, including my photo identification checklist and blog article on my website, ancestryseeking.com. And don't forget to follow or subscribe so future blog posts, podcast episodes, webinars, and genealogy resources automatically appear in your inbox. Wishing you all the best in your research and preserving your family history.